Tallulah Bankhead is without a doubt the wittiest and wildest Hollywood star that has ever lived. Born into a powerful Alabama political family in 1902, Tallulah showed a knack for acting at a young age. Her first performance was witnessed by none other than the Wright brothers. Her aunt hosted the famous Brothers of Aviation at her home for a party when Tallulah entertained guests with an imitation of her kindergarten teacher. Around this time, she also realized that she could quickly memorize poems and plays and recite them dramatically. One of her childhood friends was Zelda Fitzgerald, who was married to the famous author F. Scott Fitzgerald. While she ruled the 1920s London stage, ensuring her fame by starring in popular plays, she bought herself a Bentley which she loved to drive all over. However, she wasn't very good with directions and often paid taxi drivers to drive to her destination while she followed them when she got lost. During her 8 years in England, she gained a reputation for making the most out of bad material. For one performance, she came out carrying a monkey which went crazy and stole her wig before running off. While the audience giggled, she turned a cartwheel which made them roar with laughter and give her a standing ovation. In the early 1930s, she went to Hollywood where she began making films. She found the process of making films very boring, but the money was too good to pass up. During this time, she began hosting wild parties at her home which were said to have no boundaries. She returned to Broadway in 1933 and worked steadily in a series of mid-tier plays even with bad health. That same year, she had an emergency surgery due to her wild lifestyle and vowed to her doctors while leaving the hospital that she wouldn't change anything, saying, "Don't think that this has taught me a lesson." In 1944, she starred in Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat, which became her most successful film. The entire movie takes place on a small boat that was filmed in a large water tank on a studio lot. In her memoirs, Tallulah wrote that she was black and blue from being battered by the water-spraying machines and fans. During the filming, she famously did not wear any undergarments, which became very obvious as she was climbing up and down the ladder to the water tank. When Hitchcock was asked to address the matter, he quipped that he didn't know if it was a matter for the wardrobe department, hair, or makeup. For her performance, she won a New York Film Critics Circle Award. Tallulah returned to Broadway with Private Lives, which made her a fortune. She commanded 10% of the gross and was billed higher than any other member of the cast. However, her scandalous personal life began to undermine her reputation as a fantastic actress. She was linked to both men and women in the tabloids and also struggled with substance abuse. She also struggled with loneliness and hated to be alone. Despite her troubles, she made her most popular television appearance on the December 3rd, 1957 episode of the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour called The Celebrity Next Door. Lucille Ball was a fan of Tallulah but was extremely frustrated with her off-camera behavior. It took Tallulah 3 hours to wake up, and she often seemed incapacitated during rehearsals. She hated rehearsals and didn't listen to the director. It seemed like it was going to be a disaster, but Lucy and Desi didn't know that Tallulah had a knack for memorizing scripts quickly. Her performance on the show was so incredible that Lucy congratulated her. Tallulah also appeared on the famous Lost episode of The Tonight Show, which aired on May 14, 1968, interviewing the Beatles. On the show, she questioned Paul McCartney and John Lennon. George and Ringo were in England at the time and not on the show. Tallulah was known for her witticisms, such as, "There's less to this than meets the eye," and "I'm as pure as the driven slush." She also lived for the moment. She loved baseball and was quoted saying, "There have been only 2 geniuses in this world, Willie Mays and Willie Shakespeare, but darling, I think you better put Shakespeare first." Following a disastrous 1932 interview where afterwards she telegraphed her father and told him she would never speak to a reporter again, and also other offhand remarks where she spoke a little bit too freely, Tallulah found herself on the Hays Commission's Doom Book list. This was a list of 150 actors and actresses that were deemed unsuitable for the public and presented to the studios. Tallulah passed away in 1968 at the age of 66 and is remembered for her vibrant personality, scandalous personal life, and unequivocal talent on the stage and screen.